Hi, this is Tim with Mold Medics, and today we're going to talk about 3 of the most common sources that can lead to mold problems, particularly with gutters, grading, and downspouts. When we're out in the field and we see a mold problem, a lot of times these problems are going to take place on the lowest level of the home. So they're going to be in the basement, the crawl space, or if it's a slab-on-grade foundation, they'll be on that main level. And the reason for this is groundwater from the outside coming into the home is a really big problem and a common source of mold growth. Say it's a summer day, we get a huge storm coming through, there's a lot of rain, it's going to run down the side of the house and it's going to begin to accumulate along the foundation. And the more that water builds up, slowly it can begin to permeate through the foundation walls, and that's where we can see a lot of mold issues that take place in basements. We'll cover gutters and downspouts first, and then we'll talk about grading. Whenever we're talking about gutters with mold issues, really what it comes down to, your gutters go around the roof of the home, and they're designed to collect all of the rain and all the water that accumulates on the roof and redirect it so it all gathers into the gutters, goes down the downspouts, and then is exhausted safely far away from the foundation. Because if you don't have that and all the rain's just allowed to shed off the roof, it can lead to accumulation again along those foundation walls, eventually permeating and creating that mold problem that we want to avoid. There's a couple things that you can do to identify potential issues. One of the most common ones is keeping the gutters clean. It's not a chore that anybody enjoys doing, but it is something that needs to be done. Over time, as wind blows leaves onto trees, pine needles, all that kind of stuff can build up on your roof. The rain washes it down and it can build up in your gutters, eventually causing them to back up and basically overflow. When there's that level of buildup, it's really important you keep your gutters cleaned. So basically it's going up and cleaning them out. There's a number of different companies that do this and that can provide that service to help you. There's also professional companies that offer products like Gutter Guard or Gutter Shield. There's a whole bunch of different ones that are devices that go on top of the gutter and prevent leaves and all that from building up in them in the first place, reducing the need to actually clean your gutters. The other thing you want to look at whenever you're looking at your gutters is how are they hung? They should be hung so that they are perfectly up and down along your roof, and they should have a slight slope to them so that water, whenever it goes into the gutter, slopes and runs down towards the downspout. That's what we want to have happen. It doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes over time, animals, ice, snow, all that can cause damage to the gutter where instead of it hanging right off the house, it starts to tilt. So now whenever you get a heavy rain, the water can flow over the edge of the gutter and again run down the house. Not what we want. So if you see any gutters that are hanging, any gutters that are sloping the wrong way or pulling away from the house, that's definitely something from a maintenance perspective that you want to address because it can and will cause issues down the line. Now, if your gutters are working as they should, all the rain's going to run off the roof, it's going to collect in the gutters, and then it's going to run down to the downspout where it will go straight down, and then it should go somewhere away from the house. But downspouts are a really, really common issue that we see on a lot of homes. There's a couple of different things that can go wrong here. So one of the most common things we see is the downspout will be either loose at the connection with the gutter, or like it could be cracked, it could be disconnected. So you'll see water, instead of it running into the downspout, it'll run along the side and then gather on the ground next to the foundation. Again, that's what we want to avoid. It should, whenever it reaches the ground, go into a pipe. It'll have underground piping that runs out and then ejects somewhere in your backyard or front yard, depending on how the earth slopes around your home and everything. In a lot of cases, especially with older homes, we don't see that. And what we see instead is downspout comes down and then there's a corrugated downspout extension that goes and ejects the water away from the home. The key thing with these that can be problematic is a lot of times they get hit by lawnmowers, they get hit by weed whackers, anybody doing maintenance around the home, kids playing around the home, all that. And what we see a lot is where the downspout meets the extension, it comes disconnected. So then you've got this extension here, but none of the water is actually flowing into it. Instead, the water is just dumping right at the foundation, which is really, really bad. So if you do have those downspout extensions, making sure that they are hooked up correctly and making sure that they are directing water away from the home. The other thing you're going to see here is the grading around the home. So whenever we're talking about grading, we're talking about the earth, where it meets the house, what direction is it going? It should be sloping away from the foundation. And the reason for that is rain's going to hit the side of the house, it's going to run down. We want it to run away from the home. We don't want it flowing back towards the home. And a lot of times if a house hasn't been maintained well, Maybe it's been vacant for a while, or there was somebody there previously that just didn't do a lot of landscaping or upkeep on the outside of the home. What you'll see is the earth around the home will actually be sloped towards the house. And what that does is any of that rain that hits there is going to run and it's going to funnel against the foundation. And that's the last thing we want. We want to make sure that rain that's coming near the house is being directed away. Really, you want to make sure that any of the earth where it meets the house, it should be sloping away from the home. And particularly if you have like those downspout extensions, they should be exhausting in a way that it is continuing to direct away from the home. And it's not like just going down a little bit and then curving back in and hitting the house. So a great thing to do and a great way to check and make sure that your gutters and downspouts and your grading are all working correctly. Next time you've got a big storm, grab an umbrella and go take a look outside. Look at the roof line, look at the gutters, look at the downspouts, and just watch the flow of rain. As it hits the roof, is it going down into the gutters? Are there anywhere that it's overflowing, anywhere that the gutters are leaking and could need resealed? Is it running down into the downspouts correctly? Once it goes into the downspouts, where is it going? Sometimes you might see that a downspout does go underground, but then whenever you see it in the heavy rain, it's overflowing. And that's an indication that, okay, somewhere in that underground extension, it's backed up. But a lot of these things are best observed during periods of heavy rain. So if we've got a heavy rainfall, just go out, take a flashlight, take an umbrella, and just watch what's going on with water. It's really all about keeping the water that's on the outside of the home on the outside. We don't want it coming near the house. We want to keep it as far away as we can, and we want to make sure we're managing it properly. And if you do that, you're going to go a long way in preventing a lot of mold issues in your basement or in your home. If you guys have any questions about this, feel free to give us a call. I'll be happy to help out however we can. Thanks and have a great day.